Hi everyone, we are from Group 2. We will present our Group Assignment 1, Data Analytic Business Intelligence. Our group have me, myself, Muhammad Nur Iman, Rowan B. Rahman, Muhammad Shah, Muhammad Zulhafizan, and Muhammad Hamis. So, this is the list of our group members and we will start now.
Assalamualaikum and greetings to all. My name is Rowan. So I will present part 1 to compare two dataset using OGIF graph. So in the blue line, customer satisfaction rate. To identify satisfaction of all 30 company, we only focus on class of range 80 to 85 as we can see on the graph. The cumulative frequency is 0.57. To interpret the data, we can see on the graph, this means that all 30 company had good customer satisfaction in 57% score. To clarify that all company had achieved average score of customer satisfaction. To conclude customer satisfaction rate, all three companies, they need to improve their brand reputation and products. So the second graph is the pink one, customer retention rate. To locate retention of all three company, we only focus on class range of 80 to 85 as we can see on the graph. The cumulative frequency is 0.57. To interpret the data we can see on the graph, this means that all 30 companies had good customer retention rate is 97%. To clarify that all companies had achieved excellent rate of customer satisfaction. In conclusion, to interpret customer retention rate, the key factor is the marketing and sales department had done their part excellently. Thus, the reason I choose OGIF graph is the best to identify sum of frequency to compare two dataset. That's all from me. Thank you for watching.
So, I will present and explain for part 2, which is central equation between two key metrics. Okay, so this is the formula for the mean, mode, and median. So, for the mean is they used to determine average sales, revenue per customer, or average response time and others. Okay, so the mean formula is mean is equivalent to total each value divided by total the number of the value, and you will get the mean. Okay, for the mode, as we know, mode is the value that appears most frequently in the data, and the mode will identify the most common product sold, most frequent customer complaint, or most used service and other things. Okay, for the median, the formula is depend on the number of the data. If for the odd of number value and the even number value has a different formula. So the median is used when the data is skewed, such as income distribution, which is it will find the midpoint that better represent the data than the mean. So, for the customer certification, the mean is 84.23%. This is because the total, all of the total customer certification percentage, after we plus all of that, we will get 2,527 divided by 30. So, we will get 84.23. So, for the median of customer certification, since based on the data, the median is the even number. So the 15 and 16 value is 85%. So 85 plus 85 divided by 2, we will get 85%. While for the mode of the customer certification, we will get 85%, since the value of 85% is the value that appear most. For the customer retention, the mean is 74.07%. This is because after we add and plus all of the customer retention percentage, we will get 2,222 divided by 30. So we will get 74.07%. While for the median of the customer retention, since the median is also even number, we will get the value of the 15 and 16 value is 74. So 74 plus 74 is equivalent to 74%. while for the mode of the customer retention is 68, since the 68% is the value that appear most based on the data. So for the comparison data, for the customer certification, the mean is 84.23%. For the median is 85%, and the mode is also 85%. For the customer retention, the mean is 74.07%, the median is 74%, and the mode is 68%. So the overall performance, customer certification considering higher score than the customer retention. For the mean difference, obviously the customer certification is 10.16% higher than customer retention. And based on median alignment, the median values further highlight this gap between 85 and 74%. For the mode indicator, most frequent certification score is 85, while the retention peaks at a lower 68%, showing more variability and potentially issues is maintaining loyal customers.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Shah and I will explain on how to calculate percentile and construct a box plot for each of the two key metrics, which is customer satisfaction and customer retention. Okay, to calculate percentile, first we need to arrange the data in ascending order. Okay, this is the data arranged in ascending order. Okay, let's calculate the customer satisfaction score. Okay, to find the 25 percentile or Q1, we calculate using the formula. Okay, where n is the number of the data point and in our case is 30, and p is the percentile we want. Okay, since 25 percentile, so 30 is our n and p is 25. Okay, using the formula, this means the 25 percentile lies between the 7 and 8 value in our sorted data. The 7 score is 79 and the 8 is 80. Since after we use the formula we got 7.75 is 3/4 of the way between them. So we do Q1 equal to 79 plus 0.75 times in bracket 80 minus 79. So we got 79.75. So the 25 percentile score for satisfaction is 79.75. For Q2 and Q3, the same method is applied. So Q2, the median is 85. Q3, 75 percentile is 89.25. Okay, now let's calculate for customer retention score. Okay, again using the same formula, 25 percentile. Okay, then you get 7.75. Okay, the 7 and 8 score in this set are both 68. Okay, so Q1 equal to 68 plus 0.75 times with 68 minus 68 equal to 68. That means the 25 percentile for retention is 68. Just like before, we use the same method for the next percentile. Q2 is 74, Q3 is 80. Okay, that's all. Okay, lastly for the box plot, let's start with the customer satisfaction on the left. The bottom of the box is Q1. Okay, that the score where the lowest 35 of people fall below. Here it's 79.75. The top of the box is Q3, that's where is 75% of the people fall below. Here it's 89.25. Right in the middle is median or Q2, which is 85. So most people's satisfaction score are between 79.75 and 80.25. Below the box you see is a red star at 70. That's an outlier. It means someone had a much lower satisfaction score than the rest. Okay, on the right, customer retention, same idea here. Q1 is 68, Q3 is 80, and the median is 74. The outlier at 60. Okay, this box plot makes it easy to compare both aspects side by side. Satisfaction score are higher and more consistent, while retention score are slightly lower and have a wider spread. Okay, so you can see right away where things are strong and where they might need improvement. That is the beauty of using box plot. They make data easier and ready to explain. Okay.
My name is Mohammad Zulafizan bin Ellen. I will present part 4, which is calculate and compare measure of dispersion between the two key metrics. Firstly, we'll calculate the range. To calculate the range is maximum value minus the minimum value. As we can see, the customer satisfaction score is 23%, which is lower than the customer retention rate of 28%. This indicates that customer retention is performing better than customer satisfaction. Generally, higher percentage reflect more positive performance outcome. The MAD represent the average of the absolute difference between each observation and the mean. In this case, the customer satisfaction score has a MAD of 4.88, while the customer retention rate has a MAD of 5.74. This indicates that the customer retention rate is less consistent or more variable than the customer satisfaction score, as higher MAD value reflect greater inconsistency. Let's see the variance and standard deviation. The customer retention rate show a higher value compared to the customer satisfaction score, which indicate greater instability and inconsistency. A high variance suggests that the investment is risky because the return can fluctuate significantly. Similarly, a high standard deviation in customer data means that customer experience vary widely. Some customers are very satisfied while others are very dissatisfied. Lastly, the coefficient of variation or CV help adjust for difference in the size of the means. So it's easier to compare how much the data varies. In this case, the customer retention rate has a higher CV than the customer satisfaction score. That basically means retention is less stable and more difficult to predict.
Hello everyone, my name is Mohammad Amistania Bimat Javila with the number matrix BB233110444. So I'm in charge of the part 5, which is calculate and interpret measures of association between the two key metrics. So let's get started, alright? So in part 5, first we need to find covariance. This is the formula for covariance and it measures how two variables change together. This is correlation coefficient, the next thing that we need to calculate or find. It's standardized covariance and tell you the strength and direction of a linear relationship on a scale from -1 to +1. So in order to find the covariance, from the table, we need to calculate the mean of customer satisfaction score and the customer retention rate from the table. So the formula here, we got the formula over here, and after the calculation, we got mean of CSS for CSS is customer satisfaction score, which is 84.23. For customer retention rate, we get around 74.07. So, in order to find the covariance, we already found what is the mean for both CSS and CRR. So in this case, XI is the customer satisfaction score or CSS, and the YI is the customer retention rate or the CRR. So we need to minus CSS minus the mean. So in this case, 88 minus the mean. So we'll get 3.77. That's the value. And we need to calculate that for all of the companies. Same as, the customer retention rate, which is the YI. So 75 minus the customer retention rate mean, and you will get 0.93, and you will calculate that for all of it. So we find the value for the upper value of the covariance. Now we just need to calculate both of them. So we're going to 3.77 multiply with 0.93, and then you will get the value 3.52. You just need to multiply it for all of the value, and once you multiply it, you need to sum it up. Once you sum it up, you will get 1154.53. So we will get, the upper value for the covariance is 1154.53. And the n is the amount of companies, and we know that there's 30 companies. So it's going to be 30 minus 1. And then we just calculate it, and then we'll get the covariance as 39.81. So now let's calculate correlation coefficient. So this is the formula. We already found that the SXY, which is the coefficient, is 39.81. That's what we calculated earlier. Now we have to find SX and SY, or customer, standard deviation for customer satisfaction score, and standard deviation for customer retention rate. That's the down there. So we need to find that.
So let's find standard deviation X, or to be exact, the customer satisfaction score. So the formula for the standard deviation is quite similar to coefficient, but just a little bit different with square and square root. So first, let's look at the table. XI is the CSS, or customer satisfaction score. So we need to find, we need to minus it with mean of the CSS. So 88 minus the mean, we will get 3.77. And we need to calculate that for whole companies. And then, this is where it's a bit different. So we already know what's the value is. We just need to now, to square it. So using the rest on the table, we'll get 14.19. So then we'll calculate it for the whole company. And then we sum it up at the bottom. So we get 1043.37. So here we will, 10.43.37, and then the n is 30 as the company. So it's going to be 30 minus 1. So to calculate it, we need to calculate square 104, I mean square root 1043.37 divided by 29. And then when you do the calculation, you will get the answer as 6. So the SX is 6. Now we need to find the SY, or the standard deviation Y, or the standard deviation for customer retention rate. Now standard deviation Y, or the customer retention rate for the standard deviation. Same formula. We just need to let's look at 75. 75 minus mean, we'll get 0.93 at the table. And then we just need to square it, so we get 0.87. So that's the answer. We need to calculate that for the companies, and then we just plus it or sum it up, and we'll get 1425.87. So it's going to be 1.25.87. Square root 1425.87 divided by 29. When we divide it, we get 49.17. And then when we square root it, and we get the answer as 7.01. Now we found the SY. Now that we find both the XX and XY, let's calculate the correlation coefficient, yeah? Alright, so let's calculate the correlation coefficient. So we already found the answer for XXSY and the SXY, so we just calculate it. So the 6 multiply with 7.01, we get 4206, so 39.81. Divide 42.06, we will get 0.95. So that's the correlation coefficient, 0.95. Let's look at the analysis of the numbers that we calculate. So for covariance, we find it's 39.81. The number is positive, which means a positive relation. But we need to, be more specific. So we use correlation coefficient to calculate it, and we got 0.95. It's a positive number and very close to 1, which means a very strong positive linear relationship between the customer satisfaction score and the customer retention rate. It means that as customer satisfaction score increase, the customer retention rate will also increase. So companies should always, prioritize on making sure that the company satisfaction score is high, because, like I said, when the CSS is high, the CRR will also get higher. It's a positive relationship.